Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today it's going to be a little bit something different. So I'm pretty much going to use this video as reference for future videos I make, but today we are going to be talking about early access when it comes to Bannerlord, right? And also we're going to be talking about specifically about the Steam page and what you can read before you purchase the game. And then, I think a lot of people skipped over this part. I think a lot of people skipped over, if you look on the screen now, this part right here, and there's a read more, and there's a lot more text here than people think. And there's a lot of truth in this as well. So I do want to just showcase this. We're going to read through all of it. If I press read more, there is a lot to read. So we're going to read through all of it. And if you don't have the game, I'm going to give you my honest opinion after 300 hours of playtime. Personally at the end, but first we're going to go over what the devs have to say about their early access game, and I'm going to state which parts are true, which parts are, pretty much like from my experience, what parts are true, what parts are not true, and if the devs give an accurate representation of the game, so for new players that haven't bought the game yet, if they should buy it or if they should not buy it, if that kind of makes sense, right? So also right now, I'm pretty sure until June 9th, the game is on sale for $39 instead of the original $50. I'm in the US, so I don't know what the euro, what do you call it? What the difference in euro and US is, but right now, if you are, there is a significant discount. Okay, so let's get to it. So early access game. So get instant access and start playing. Get involved with this game as it develops. Note, this is early access game that is not complete or may or may not change further. If you are not excited to play this game in its current state, then you should wait to see if the game progresses further in development. So there's your first warning that this game is not complete. Now, we have what the developers have to say. So why early access? Why did they choose to go early access? Early access is something that we are familiar with. Our first title, Mountain Blade, helped to pioneer this method of release back in 2005. By working alongside our community, we were able to deliver a unique gaming experience that players still enjoy to this day. These past experiences have taught us that is vital to bring players in to help us iron out any issues and refine the game by utilizing feedback to bring it to the level that both our community and we expect. So, they have done this before, and has it worked out or has it not worked out? That's up for opinion, right? I think Warband worked out. I think it was a great game, had a lot of replayability, and like it stated right here, it was early access as well. Well, I don't know if Warband was early access. Was it Warband early access? Let me go check that real quick before we continue. Okay, so here's what we have. So they have done early access for the original Mountain Blade, and then for Warband, they did a closed beta testing that began in 2009. August 2009, and then it became open in February 2010, and then it was released in March 3rd, 2010. So they've done different types of testing before, and if we're being honest here, it's worked out in the end, in my opinion, right? Now, let's see. We are hoping to run a productive and efficient early access for Mountain Blade Bannerlord as well. However, due to the nature and scale of the game that we have envisioned, there may be various problems or missing features and content during the course of early access. Here are a few aspects you may need to know. Boom, there goes your second, pretty much notice saying there's gonna be missing features. It's not finished. That's your second warning. Got one up here, two right here. Alrighty, so let's see the stuff that is missing. Let's see if I agree with it, right? So unique maps for towns, castles, and villages. Although we plan to create unique maps for every town and castle in the game, it is a rather arduous process. I don't know if I said that right. Process to create that many well-designed maps, and as such, different locations may share the same map during early access. So there you go. So do I agree with this? I think personally, here's the thing. So I've beaten the game a couple times, and by beating the game I mean I've taken over the whole map, right? So I did have to do a lot of sieges, right? And personally, I don't even think this is a huge problem. Yeah, it'd be cool if every single castle in town and village had their own like unique map, right? And I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to that point. But at the same time, I think there's a good variety to the point where I don't really get bored and I don't really like, oh my god, that looks the same as that. You know what I mean? That's my personal take on it. I think there's a good variety and a good mix to the point where it's not like, oh, it's this castle again, you know? So I think in that point, it's not the biggest deal. This isn't like the most game-breaking deal, in my opinion. All right, quest content. A portion of planned quests may be missing entirely, and those in the game may be using placeholder maps and animations and etc. So a lot of people have complained that the main quest is very boring and it's kind of tedious. All you have to do is just talk to a couple lords and just literally meet them, talk to them. There's no speech check, no nothing. You just ask them about a significant battle in the past. They tell you about it. Once you talk to 10 of these lords, you go to the second part where you meet up with 2 different people. You ask them, hey, either I want to create my own kingdom or I want to join you guys to either defeat somebody or to help somebody. You get this dragon banner or whatever from beating a couple hideouts, and then you choose, do you want to go destroy the empire, save the empire, create your own kingdom? And that's pretty much the main quest in a nutshell right now. But they have stated in some dev accounts on the forum that there's a lot more that they want to add to this main quest. So I think this is accurate. I think there is a placeholder right now for the main quest. It's very simple. It's very plain. But at the same time, personally for me, like my personal opinion on this point, I think the quest, yes, can use a lot of fixes, but at the same time, I don't think that's what people come to play Mount & Blade for, if that kind of makes sense. The whole Mount & Blade storyline, I think it's more of a sandbox and kind of create your own story type of game. But yes, there is a lot of main quest wise, there's a lot missing. So balancing. Various aspects of the game may be poorly balanced. Parts of the game may be too easy or too hard. True. So there's been a lot of bugs, groundbreaking. There was a bug where it's kind of fixed now, but at the same time, it's not. So there was a bug where there was a lot of wars. Everybody went to war with each other every like 2 seconds that they could. Now everybody's going to peace with each other, right? We've had a lot of bugs that had to do with making money. So right now, a big bug, well, not a big bug, but a big problem is if you do smithing, which is pretty much creating weapons, right? So you can, once you level up to a certain point, once you get enough of these schematics that you need or these parts that you need to create these powerful weapons, you can pretty much spend like a couple thousand and make like close to $1 million off of smithing very early in the game, and that kind of ruins the whole money system, in my opinion. We've also had problems with workshops. Some workshops, you would buy them, and then the next day they'd make a couple thousand, or even in the beginning of the game, wood workshops used to make 50,000, stuff of that nature, right? So yes, it is various aspects, like they said, are poorly balanced, but at the same time, every significant update has addressed a lot of these bugs, either with nerfs or changes or removal. So yeah, there's going to be even more bugs. I'm not going to say like, oh, it's going to be perfectly balanced in a week. No, because when stuff is introduced, it changes the whole aspect of gameplay. And if one thing is introduced that might be very good, that one very good thing can ruin another aspect and make that other aspect either broken or completely useless, and then you have to work from there. But I do agree with the balancing statement. Now, voiceover. Since the game uses a lot of dynamic text and hundreds of NPCs, we are planning to record voiceovers for only a limited subset of the dialogue, greetings, companion introductions, and main quest. Some of these planned voiceovers may be missing or using placeholder versions during EA. So some of the main quest, people do speak, and I'll be honest with you, I was playing it at like 5 a.m. and I didn't know there was voiceover characters, so when I heard their voice, I literally had like a jump scare because I didn't know there were voices in this game. But it would be cool to get voiceovers. I don't think it's completely needed. I think how the text like, what do you call it? Like how it's on the screen and there's no voice, it's just text. I think that's fine. I think we just need more options for that. I think we need further dialogue, deeper dialogue, kind of, connected to what's going on in the game type of dialogue. But in terms of voices, I don't know if that's completely needed, but it's cool that it's, gonna come eventually. Save games. We will strive to keep saving compatibility during EA. However, it may be technically infeasible to provide 100% backward compatibility in save games, and you may occasionally have to start a new game after updating to a new version. This, personally, here's the personally. So, personally, I haven't had too much trouble with this because, what do you call it? You are allowed to switch beta patches. So, you can even play the beta patch that came out the day the game came out, right? Or you can play the one that came out 3 weeks ago, or you can play the current beta patch, right? So they have a thing called beta patches and live patches. And every time a new beta patch comes out, the previous beta patch that was there becomes a live patch, if that kind of makes sense. So, and then you have a choice, if you buy this on Steam, you have a choice to change the beta patch. Either, I think we're at, right now we're at 1.4.2, that's for the beta patches, but you can go all the way back to 1.1 or 1.2 and play on there. Personally, right now, I'm playing my playthrough that I'm currently, that's currently on my YouTube. I am playing it on 1.3, and because it is a stable live patch. And plus, when it comes to save games, something that the game did that I thought was very, very good in some recent updates was they added a system where autosaves have 3 slots. Pretty much whenever autosaves happen, whenever you go look into your saves, you'll see autosave 1, autosave 2, and autosave 3. And then the next autosave after 3 will be, again, autosave 1, if that kind of makes sense. So they rotate, and I think that's a very good feature that a lot of more games should have. But personally, I've not experienced this, but I know that some saves do break, especially if, let's say, you're playing your playthrough on the beta patch, and you just keep it, you keep Steam on auto update. Eventually, 3-4 patches down the line, that save won't work anymore unless you revert back to that starting beta patch, if that kind of makes sense. Now, bugs and glitches. Although we strive to create a stable game experience, the game will be actively developed during early access, and hence there will be greater chance of bugs and glitches creeping up. It will, of course, be a priority to fix these. I think this is very common knowledge. It's early access. There's a lot of hey guys, let's be honest. There's a lot of finished games on the market that have a lot of bugs, that aren't even being looked into. Let's keep it 100% honest here. But I think yes, there are bugs, there are glitches. I think they do a very good job at hot fixes, but unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity on the forums saying, oh, well, why isn't there a fix to this problem? And they're usually talking about very huge problems that, like the war problem that I stated earlier, where every kingdom wants to have war with every other kingdom, which it shouldn't be that way. It usually should be around 2 to 3 kingdoms are at war at the same time, and usually just one-on-ones pretty much, right? But there are going to be bugs and glitches, and I think they do a pretty good job at fixing them or prioritizing them, if that makes sense. Plus on my channel, if this is the first video you watch or whatever, I show a lot of the hot fixes that they post. I show how they affect the gameplay and all of that. It's all on my channel if you guys want to check that out. Now, localization. Our current plan is to localize the game into the following languages: French, Italian, German, Japanese, Korean, Polish, Brazilian, Portuguese, Russian, simplified Chinese, Spanish, Latin American, and Turkish. Other languages may be added later during EA. Localizations for these languages may be missing entirely or may be incomplete. Okay, so they're doing a wide variety of different languages, I didn't even know about all this, but it's good to know. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this, There's not much to point out about this, but it's good that they want to include as many people as possible. Now, we got multiplayer mode and features. The game currently supports several popular multiplayer modes, but we are planning to add more modes and features, possibly including ranked matchmaking. So they have talked about ranked matchmaking. Currently, right now, in all honesty, multiplayer is kind of broken. It's very hard to play multiplayer. It's a very long wait time. So if you are planning to buy this game for multiplayer, I would suggest waiting, in my opinion. If the only reason you want to buy this game is multiplayer, then it's kind of broken right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. You could still find games, but it's gonna take you a while. Now, next one, single-player features. Several planned single-player features may be missing or incomplete. These include, but are not limited to, full game controller support, some skill and perk effects, crafting, some aspects of sieges, and clan, army, and kingdom management. Boom! This is a big one that we need to touch on. So there's been a lot of negativity on the forums about, oh man, I bought this, and after 10 years, you know, they couldn't fix the perks, the skills, the crafting, the sieges, you know, they're only climbing on one ladder instead of three. You know, there's not enough kingdom management, kingdom, like, you know, decisions and stuff of that matter. But before you bought the game, they state right here that, you know, that will be missing. Those aspects that people are complaining about right now, they state that they will be missing. But yeah, there is missing. I don't know about the full game controller. I don't play with a controller. I play with a keyboard and mouse. So I don't know about that. I can't give you a good, what do you call it, explanation on that, right? Whether I agree or not. But some skill and perk effects, yeah, some skill and perks are broken. But here's what the devs are doing. So every significant patch, they are overhauling one skill at a time. And why are they doing this? It's very simple. I think it's very straightforward, but people still don't understand it. So the whole point is they rework a skill, and then they see how gameplay is changed by reworking that skill. They want to do this by one skill per time, per update, because they'll see how it affects a game. If it doesn't break anything, if it makes the game better, then they will move on to the next skill, and then the next skill. Because if they reworked all the skills at the same time, they wouldn't know what the problems are if any were to arise. I think that's very common knowledge, but some people still have have trouble understanding that, and are wondering why it takes so long. Because obviously, you need to change something. You need to see how it fits into the game. If it does, if it does good or does bad, and then you need to move on. It's very simple in my opinion. Now, developing Mount Blade Bannerlord has been and continues to be a fabulous experience for us, and we are excited to be walking to the final phase of this journey together with our players. Of course, you may prefer to wait a little bit longer and hold off until the final finished product. In this case, please consider adding the game to your wish list, and you'll receive an email when we release the full version. Boom! If you prefer to wait a little bit longer and wait until it's finished, you don't have to buy it right now. Add it to your wish list, and you'll know when it gets released. Very simple. It says it right here for people who wanted a finished game. Very simple. Approximately how long will this game be in early access? While we do not have a set date for a full release at this moment in time, we expect that the game will be in early access for around a year. There's your answer also. That's a big question that was asked. Our focus is on ensuring that the game is fun and enjoyable rather than imposing a deadline that might have a negative impact on the final product. I agree 100%. Deadlines, they cause, deadlines, they're good and bad. I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Deadlines, they give the consumer, kind of like a day to get excited about and things of that nature. But a lot of times, sometimes a week before launch, there's some changes that need to be made, and they might take a little bit longer, but guess what? The devs will hold off on it because it will break the game more than it will help the game. And then all of a sudden, once the game is released, boom, there's a lot of bugs, a lot of issues that could have been fixed if they pushed it back 2 more weeks, but they can't because there's a deadline. So I think this is fine. Wait until you are completely sure that the game is finished and all of that, and all the testing is done, and then release it. It doesn't have to be exact day, exact this. I agree with this. How's the full version planned to differ from the early access version? The early access version of the game contains a wealth of content that will keep players engaged for many hours. Big true. While the early access version is very much stable and playable, players can expect to run into some obscure bugs and other issues while playing that we intend to locate and fix before the full release. I think it's a very good statement. I have 300 hours. I'm still not even bored. I'm still playing more and more playthroughs. And guess what? I still haven't even touched the mods, And once I do start touching mods, I'm pretty sure I'm going to play even more. So, a lot of people say the game is bare bones, but let me tell you, if you like the core features of Warband, fighting, taking over stuff, training up your character, getting loot, getting troops, leveling up those troops. If you like all of those aspects of the game, you're gonna like this game. You're gonna like this game. The improved graphics, I don't care what people say, like the graphics look fantastic to me. You know what I mean? They don't have to look ultra realistic for them to be good. I think for this game, graphics fit great. I think it is stable. A lot of people say crash, crash, crash. I've played for 300 hours. I've crashed once. Once. You know what I mean? And that was because I had like 7 windows in the back and I was really pushing my computer to the limits. So, and in terms of stable, yes, there are FPS problems on some maps and some sieges and some battles, but that's what it is. They come and go. They aren't, in my opinion, they aren't game breaking as some people want to. In my opinion, I think a lot of people are. What's the word? It's not overestimated, but they're kind of over exaggerating. That's the word I want to use. They over exaggerate. Like they'll get one crash and all of a sudden, oh, it's a broken game. I can't play it. It's over. You know what I mean? No. Listen, as a person who's played, oh my goodness, excuse me, as a person who's played a lot of the Fallout franchise, I love those games to death. Fallout 76 not included, but the other games I love to death, and they are one of the most buggiest, unstable games I've ever played, but I love them to death. And let me tell you, this game is very stable compared to that. The FPS issues, like I said, they're not game breaking. Crashes, unless you're doing something very crazy and you're pushing your system to the limit, you don't see much crashes in my opinion, right? And they do fix, they have a lot of crash fixes. They've done a lot of crash fixes to a lot of big problems, some problems I've been having. So yes, you will run into some obscure bugs, you will, and other issues while playing. That is true, but I think the game is playable. I think it is stable. As it's as stable as a lot of early access games, even better than a lot of early access games in my opinion. But the game is very much playable. The early access version will be reusing scenes for different towns, may lack some supporting features, may have limited number of quests, voiceovers, etc., and may lack localization for some languages. Boom! What is that, like your 5th warning at this point? Like, the game is going to be missing some features. Tells you right over here. Throughout the course of early access period, we intend to introduce the missing supporting features such as rebellions. Oh, I'm ready for that. Kingdom creation, which we've gone, and weapon crafting, while expanding and enhancing many of the existing features that are outlined below. Okay. What is the current state of the early access version? In terms of content, the early access version of the game contains all the main staples of the Mount & Blade experience. Yes, like I said before, if you like Mount & Blade games, you will like this game. With a host of content that is new to the series, players can create their own character using the game's character creation system, explore the continent of Calradia, gather their own warbands of troops, command and fight alongside... Oh, I almost lost myself. Hold on. Their troops in large-scale battles using the game's extensive command system and intuitive skill-based directional combat system, raise settlements, lay siege to and capture enemy towns and castles, trade items and goods using the game's deep economy system, engage in politics and diplomacy, manage their own clan, upgrade and manage settlements, gather armies and wage war, and much, much more. All in a vast single-player sandbox setting where no 2 playthroughs are the same. True. The early access version also includes fully supported multiplayer game modes for players to test their combat skills and tactical prowess against players from all over the world. I agree. If you like the core features, they're there. Can there be more features added? Of course. Are they adding more features? Of course. So that's my aspect on that. Sorry, someone's calling me. Okay, so as I was saying, and I think I'm kind of like being like a broken record at this point. If you like the core aspects of Mount & Blade, this game has it. And the whole no 2 playthroughs are the same. Yes, I've had a couple different playthroughs where I chose a couple different kingdoms to be a part of, and it's different gameplay. It is different gameplay, and I think it is totally worth it in my opinion. But if you do want a fully furnished, finished game, like the dev stated, you can wait for the final product. Now, will the game be priced differently during and after early access? There's no plan to change pricing after early access. This was also another thing that people were negative in the forums about, which I never really understood. So people are upset that it was priced fully, even though it's not finished. And I don't understand that logic, in my opinion. I really do not understand that logic. People are saying, "Oh, it should have been $20, $10," and I don't know how to exactly counter that argument, but just no, it doesn't make sense. No, I think a company can place their product if it's a reasonable price, which I think $50 is a reasonable price, you know, or $40 right now. I think that's a reasonable price for a game of this magnitude, regardless if it's early access or not. So you know, and it's always your choice to buy it. They don't have to make it lower because you don't think it's worth the price, if that kind of makes sense, right? Now, how are you planning on involving the community in your development process? We intend to use a range of different methods to gather player feedback and data throughout the early access period. These include engaging with the users directly on our official forums and our Steam forum, requesting specific feedback through questionnaires, hosting, and participating in multiplayer events alongside our community, and using our analytical tools to gather data. Okay, so another thing that people have been negative to the devs about the engaging on the official forums. So for some reason, which I still do not understand, the devs do post on the forums. I have multiple videos, I think dozens of videos on my channel, where I talk about what the devs talk about on the forums and my opinions of what they talk about. And they do. Every single week, there's plenty of posts where they either answer questions, answer concerns, or they show aspects of the game that they don't really even need to show, but they do. For some reason, people on the forums choose to ignore this and still post, "Oh, the devs are not posting anything at all. There's no communication at all." And I just don't understand why they would do that, you know? Whether it's because they don't like the game and they're trying to push their own scenario out there, but there is communication on the forums. There is. Next, I haven't been on the Steam forum, so I can't really answer that. Requesting specific feedback through questionnaires, hosting and participating in multiplayer events. Personally, I don't know about the multiplayer. I don't really play multiplayer in this game. I play single player mostly. Questionnaires and hosting. I don't know exactly what that is. I haven't received any questionnaires. And using analytical tools to gather data. Yes. They really hope you report every single bug. They also have a different beta branch where you can go and play and then record from that beta branch to give them even a better insight into the bugs that you are facing. So yes, they have the tools and data to do that. But okay, that is pretty much it for this. That is the early access statement that you should read. And why you should read it is because it comes before the price. It comes before you adding to cart. They put it all the way over here. They put it in bright blue so you can see, and put it in big font, early access game. They gave you everything that they think that, you know, should be stated, and I think it's a good summary of what is, you know, pretty much. I think it's a good summary of what to expect, in my opinion, right? And then you get the price. So for people who bought it and are upset that it's early access, you were warned. You were told. You just chose not to, you know, take the time and read all this. You know, that's nobody's problem but your own, unfortunately. Yeah, just read stuff before you buy it. Like, please, just read stuff before. Do your research. Don't just buy stuff blindly and then be upset with the result after. You know, just a quick, like, off-topic thing, but I think it has to do with this topic. I resell things online. Also, it's kind of like a little side, you know, hustle, little side job or whatever. And a lot of people who buy from, let's say, eBay and Amazon where I sell, they don't read the description. They don't. I've had multiple people that have bought something from me, and like recently, someone has bought a bag from me, and what happened is I put mini in the title, but in the description I put the exact dimensions of the bag, the complete dimensions, exactly what it looked like. I think like 8 or 10 photos, right? And the person bought this bag, and then they complained that, oh, well, it stated mini, so I thought it was this size, and I was just like, everything was listed in the description, but guess what? They didn't read the description, and they were upset that, oh, well, I thought mini meant this. It was mini, but it was just a different interpretation, right? So, how does this have to do with this topic? People thought, oh, early access game, it's almost done. Well, it depends on your opinion what almost done means. I think this game is, pretty good for an early access game, while others might think it's not. But if you were to read all of the things that were said here, this will give you a much better understanding. Same way as if that person who bought the bag would have read the description, they would see the exact dimensions of the bag and not just the title of early access game. So, yeah, before you buy anything, please read about it. Please do your research. Almost everything I buy, I do my research, almost everything, right? But like, you have to. If you're going to make a purchase and if you think this price point is too big, then I don't understand why you wouldn't do research. It wouldn't make sense to me. If I'm making a big purchase, right? If I consider this a big purchase, because a lot of people complaining about it being this price, then you should definitely do research on it. That's just my 2 cents on it. Hopefully the video was helpful. Hopefully I explained some of these for better understanding and all of that. But yeah, read before you buy. But like always, let me know your let me know what you think. Let me know any concerns, and like always, stay safe.